There we go. Hey, what's up, everybody? It's your boy Rudy, here to bring you guys a new video. No, not a video. This is a podcast show of sorts, a variety podcast show. I don't know. I tell you what I want to do is I want this to be, mostly, it's going to be mostly geared towards mountain biking and things related to that. But I'm definitely going to have some off-kiltered topics, I guess you would say. I got a lot of friends out there that has given some pretty good suggestions. I posted a deal on Facebook saying that I was going to start a podcast. This is it. This is me starting a podcast. So I asked for some topics, and I'm going to get to some of those topics. I don't think I'm going to be able to get to them all, but I definitely want to touch on a bit of them. If I do get to them all, great. But I'm not sure how this format is going to go. I'm going to try my best to keep in mind that this is going to be a podcast. So not to be trying to look on the computer and describe things, thinking that you guys can see what I'm doing. So there's going to be a little bit of a learning curve for me. And, I hope that this is going to be the first of many. So with that being said, let's just get right into the first thing that I want to talk about. If you guys are into mountain biking and you watch a lot of YouTube videos, you probably come across this YouTube channel called Pink Bike. They do a lot of different things, and it's something that I think would be really, really cool to be a part of. And if you're lucky enough to be part of Pink Bike and help them do some of their reviews on their gear or their bikes, or if you're one of the young lucky contestants to be on the Pink Bike Academy, that's what I'm going to be talking about here. So the Pink Bike Academy, this past episode is actually is the second to the last episode, because what these guys are doing is they have I think there was 10 contestants or something like that, men and women, and they're all competing for a chance to win $30,000 and all these sponsorships through Pink Bike that you win to help you further your career as a enduro racer, right? So something that I'm really, really interested in, because I know I'm too old to be a fully sponsored, ride 100% of the time athletic competitor in enduro racing, but I have done 2 enduro races now, and I really enjoy it. And it's actually sparked up me to start getting back into shape and going to the gym, and not only just riding my bike, and then start watching what I'm eating, because I enjoy competing. You know what I mean? And excuse me. Sorry, I didn't want to do that in the microphone. And competing, so it's given me this newfound love and drive to be in better shape so that I can compete and not be so worn out, at the top of the stages. So for those of you that know me but don't know what enduro racing is, I'm going to kind of explain it a little bit, because I think this will kind of help explain what I'm talking about as far as this Pink Bike Academy show. That's a competition. Okay. So enduro racing is riding your bike downhill, but it's not as easy as that. You also have to climb to the top of the hill. But a lot of these races, especially in like bigger series races, they're on mountains. So there's several different stages that you have to ride up, and then you ride down the stage just so that you can ride up to another stage. And there's usually somewhere between, I'm going to say, 4 and 6 stages. There are a few different formats, but for the most part, that's what it is. You start by riding your bike up the hill. You are not timed for that climb to the top of the hill, but then you are timed for the race run down the hill. And then whenever you traverse to the next stage, you're not timed for that. You're then again timed for the stage coming back down. And then you do these stages throughout the day, rather it be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They take your total time, and that's the time that you take, and that's what they gauge you on, or that's what the the fastest time is going to determine where you place on the podium, or where you place at the event. Okay, so these these competitors on this mountain, they're like on this mountain. Wish I could remember the big white. I think it is a Big White Mountain. It's a mountain bike park where they're at. So it does have a lift that will take you up to the top. And I'm sure they've ridden that lift plenty of times. But here we are at the end of the season, and now they're doing an enduro race to figure out who wins this competition. And I'm pretty, and I'm not pretty. What they're doing is they have a men's category and a women's category, and they're down to the final 4 racers. Okay, so on today's release, I was able to watch it, spend some time, and I took some notes because I really enjoy watching the season, because they have these competitors and they put them through many different obstacles or challenges, I should say. They put them through different challenges and they compete. And then as they compete, these competitors start leaving one at a time, depending on where you're at in the challenge, right? So now we're at the end here, and we got our final 4, which is Flo, Bradley, Emmett, and Laura. And what they're doing is they're doing a full enduro. They're doing a 6-stage enduro through 2 days. And this is the first day, so they did 3 stages today on this episode of the Pink Bike Academy. So the stage 1 was Catapult Ranch. Stage 2 was Rock Hammer to Knockout. Stage 3 was Hubba Bubba to Dark Roast into Berm Sling. And those are the stages that they did today. So remember, they not only did they get to go, they go down the mountain, but they had to make the climb up to each one of these. And I don't know what the elevation is, but I tell you, it's Big White. It's a legit mountain. So I can't imagine how much elevation these guys rode up today just to ride down. So on the first part of the show was them talking about the new 2022 Orbea Rayon or Raylon, or I don't know exactly how you say that, but it was basically a commercial, and all these guys, all these competitors, these 4 competitors, they were riding last year's model, and now for this last part of this enduro, they're getting to ride these brand new top build bikes, and man, they are some sweet looking bikes, and the colors on them are pretty dope. And if you don't know, man, if you go to Orbea's website and pick out a bike, they got a lot of. It's probably the most customizable bike that you can purchase or that you can get. A lot of the manufacturers will just, this is their 2 colors for their 2 builds or whatever, and that's kind of what you get stuck with. But there are a lot of different ones with Orbea, so that's pretty cool. If you guys get a chance, check out that website. Not to mention their bikes are sick too. So the first, I don't know, like probably 10-15 minutes was basically an Orbea Raylon commercial about their bikes and how everybody loves them and how they're this and how they're that. Anyways, check that out. That's pretty cool. So moving on here to the first stage. Oh, no. Let's go back real quick. So after the commercial, they brought in an old competitor, the guy that won the first Pink Bike Academy, Evan, which looks stacked. The dude looks like he's really been putting in the work. Like he if you look at his arms, he's got veins popping out. Dude's got swole. Like it's obvious that, from what he looked like last season to what he looks like right now, he's obviously been blessed to have the time and effort, or to have the time to put in the effort to get into better shape and do the bike rides and start doing these races, because now he's got this money, and now he's got this backing through all the sponsors. And I just think that's really cool. And that's what these guys are competing for, because they obviously ultimately want to be a full-time paid professional mountain biker. And that's what this competition is for. And then, so after they brought Evan in and visited with him, they asked these contestants, these athletes, to go ahead and ask Evan some questions. After that, they brought Tom on, which is also a previous competitor on the Pink Bike Academy from last season. And this guy came up with a way to have them do, instead of doing like something like rock, paper, scissors to figure out who goes down the mountain first and last, they did this moo off competition, and man, it was ridiculous. But I tell you what, whenever we go up to Spider Mountain and all my friends are like, oh, I don't care what we run. I don't care what we run. You pick, I'm going to start challenging people to do a moo off to make you figure out who so somebody can figure out what run you're doing or who goes first. Or I thought it was funny, and it's something pretty simple and easy to do. So let's go off, or let's get off of that. Moving along here to what I think about who's going to win this competition. I think Flo's going to win in the men's category, or I'm sorry, Flo. I think Flo's going to win in the women's category. She's been strong all season. I think that was an easy pick. I like her attitude, and it's obvious that she's been racing for a long time. So I think she all but deserves this, and I think she's going to take this last part of the competition pretty easily. Against Laura, which Laura is, I think she deserves to be where she's at, and as the second competitor in the women's category. But I don't think she's going to be able to beat Flo, plain and simple. And after this episode, it's going to be really, really tough for her to try to beat that obstacle course, or to raise up against the obstacles that she's put herself in. Flo ended up winning the moo off competition, and I think Laura goes second, Bradley goes third, and Emmett goes last, I think. Oh, no. So it goes the opposite way. So I think Emmett went first, and then Bradley, Laura, and then Flo at the end, because I think Flo ended up winning the whole moo off. Is that right? I might have to go back and look. Anyways, so going down the first stage, Catapult Ranch, Emmett came out the gate looking fast, just flying, and he got a flat tire. And it was like really early on in the race. Excuse me. Excuse me. I'm so sorry. He got a flat early on in the race, and he decided that he was going to hop off this bike and run down the trail to get his best time. And I tell you what, me personally, with them being there and what they were doing and knowing that there was going to be other races, I honestly think I would have kept going until my tire came off the rim. I have no idea if these guys are running Cush Core. I doubt it, because they haven't mentioned anything throughout the rest of the season, but I think I would have ran that tire down to the rim, you know what I mean? And then figured it out whenever I got back down. Had somebody put a tire on it, and go from there. They got full mechanical staff there with that other guy from last season too. But he ran down and then clocked his time. That really sucks, because that puts him behind the 8 ball. But if you guys have been watching the episode, Emmett's a really, really strong rider, and as far as speed goes, he probably is the fastest guy there. So next up, running down was Bradley, and Bradley too he looked fast and loose, really flowing from what they showed us on the episode of the trail. He looked really good, really fast, and made it down without a puncture or a tire issue or any kind of mechanical problem. So that's going to put Emmett in a real tough spot to come back from behind. Flo went down. She looked really good. Laura, whenever she went down this first stage, Catapult Ranch, she got catapulted twice over her handlebars, and she went down hard both times. And as if the first time wasn't bad enough, like, I felt bad for her, because I don't want to see anybody crash, especially the way that she did. But man, she got back up on that bike as quickly as possible and started going down the mountain. And you could tell right away from what they showed us anyways, that she did look frazzled. She did look timid on the bike. And then I don't know how much further down the mountain, but of course in the show, it didn't look, 30 seconds later that the poor Laura, she ate shit again over the handlebars, and scuffed herself up, scraped herself up pretty good. And then she went back to, she finished it. She finished the race. She got back on and she finished the race. And then not to go too far ahead, but man, whenever she lined up to start hitting the second part of not the second part of the stage, but the next stage, the rock hammer to knockout, she looked pretty composed, and she gathered herself together, and she went down that. I think she made a really good run down that. But again, not trying to get too far ahead of myself on this. What was next? The second one. Let me read my notes here for just a second here. Okay, so the second one, yeah. So Emmett ran down that one, and he looked super fast, like really fast. Like obviously he knew that now because he was running behind because of his flat tire, that he needed to step it up, and he needed to like haul ass down the hill. And from what they showed, he looked fast. Like every corner that they showed, every jump, like he was just scrubbing off the top of everything, like not trying to get too high. He's pedaling through all the sections, and he just looked like a really fast guy, right? But I tell you what, whenever they showed Bradley didn't look like he was letting up. You know, not only did he not have that pressure behind him, but he had a little bit of pressure relieved off of him, knowing that now Emmett had to make up time. So he had a little bit less pressure, I think, on him, knowing that Emmett had the mechanical issue. So he just probably stuck to his game plan, didn't have to push it too hard, stayed loose and fast, and that's the way it looked on that second run. Now Flo on the second one, I don't know if it's just the way that the camera was angled or what, but Flo looked almost timid in a couple of the technical steep sections that they showed on the video. But she thought she was fast. She felt fast from what she said whenever they interviewed her at the end of that stage. But Laura, whenever she dropped into that last, or not the last stage, the second stage, man, she killed it. She looked good whenever a lot of times they show, because they have the camera set up the way they have them set up, you're going to watch each competitor pass through the same section, right? Of each one of the stages. And Laura looked more composed and loose and faster going through these sections than what Flo did. So I was really surprised to see that she was still quite a bit behind on that stage as opposed to what Flo did. Now on the third, I think that the third stage, which was Hubba Bubba, Dark Roast, and Berm Sling, I think that those guys, I think everybody was warmed up, and now Laura, she's put that crash behind her. I think, like I said, everybody's warmed up. Everybody's kind of got their I don't know, what do you want to say, like their bike underneath them, and they know what it's doing and where it's at. And, they are kind of getting used to a new bike that does different things. And I think by now, I just feel like everybody looked more comfortable through the sections that they showed on camera. And you can tell at the end that everybody like had fun, and everybody on the third stage had like a clean run and was smiles at the end, tired but smiles and happy with their runs. And I feel like that was like the best run for everybody on that stage. And then if anybody looked slow on that third stage, it was probably Flo, from what I could see. I don't know if you guys agree with me or not, but I would love to have somebody here to discuss this with that has at least watched it and has some kind of ambition to be an enduro racer that does enduro riding at least. So here we are at the end of day one. It's obvious Flo was way ahead of everybody, or way ahead of her competition, of Laura. And Bradley as well. He's got a commanding lead on Emmett, because Emmett had that tire issue. So it really puts Emmett in a tough spot, because now he can't let up. Like he's got to push down like every stage because he's got so much time to catch up. But if you hear Goalie at the end, whenever they're talking to the judges, like, I agree with him, what he said. If anybody can do it, like, Emmett's going to be the guy that does it. Like, if Bradley doesn't have any more mechanical issues and he just continues to rip and ride down the mountain, you know, I still think he's got enough pressure behind him because he knows what kind of rider Emmett is. And Emmett, if anybody can do it, Emmett's going to make it that time, and Emmett's still going to beat Bradley. So that's going to be really cool to watch because that was pretty much the end of this episode, was just doing the first 3 stages. So the next episode is going to obviously be the last 3 stages of the enduro race, and then they're going to pick a winner. Now they say that they're going to pick the winner only based on, you know, everything that they did throughout the competition, as opposed to not just what they did in this race. And I think if they did that and Emmett still comes anywhere close to what Bradley's time is at the end, then Emmett's still going to win, even if he doesn't win the enduro race, as the way the competition goes. Let me know what you think about that. As for Flo and Laura on the other side, on the women's side, unfortunately, I don't think Laura has a chance. Unless Flo has a major mechanical issue. But there again, on that woman's side, it's the same thing. Throughout the season, Flo has just murdered everything, every challenge that has come up. And I don't think Laura, I don't think Laura has won any of them, but she's done just enough to stay in the competition, obviously, because she's part of the Final Four. So, again, you know, it's going to be this, you know, and Pink Bike or these shows like this, these competition shows, competitive shows, like, they do a real good job. There's a formula, you know what I mean, that keeps you interested and keeps you wanting to find somebody to root for. And, you know, in the mountain bike world or in the biking world, for the most part, like, everybody wants everybody to do well. And I know secretly by yourself, you don't want somebody that's so close to you to do as well. But really, at the end of the day, like, you're happy that they made it down the mountain. You're happy they didn't eat shit. You're happy that you had a close competitor. But secretly, you don't really care. You just want to win, right? I mean, that's maybe that's just me not being in the mountain bike world as long, but you know, just being a competitor and always wanting to win at anything that I do. So that's I'm just gonna cut it off right there, because I can go back and I can talk about a bunch of other stuff with this Pink Bike Academy, but I just want to stop there. Otherwise I'll just ramble on. And you know what? Speaking of ramble on, my wife, I was talking about this podcast, and I was asking her, I said, you know, I don't have a name. I don't have a name for it. What's the name going to be? And she was the one that said, well, you're always rambling about shit. Like, you get stuck on a subject, and then you'll ramble on about one thing, and then you'll go past it like as if to forget about it. And then you're talking about something else that will eventually bring it back to the point of subject. But you take the long way around sometimes. And she called it rambling. I was like, oh man, Ramblin' Rudy podcast. Maybe that's it. And then I thought, you know, I was watching, I take that back. I was in a situation where I couldn't have my sound on, and I was watching YouTube video, and they were talking about going down a Rooty section, right? Like a Rooty section, like a bunch of roots, you know, it's really Rooty there. And the way that they spelled it was like Rootie, Rooty or something like that. Anyways, I think that I might try to implement that into my podcast phrase, and maybe this podcast deserves to have its own channel. So then maybe this podcast will just be Ramblin' Rudy, or Rooty Rambles, right? Rooty instead of Rudy. Rooty Rambles. I don't know, something like that. You guys let me know what you think about that too, because I gotta find some kind of cool name, something I can get some cool stickers for, to hand out to people, the trailheads, and you know, get my name and my brand out there. I gotta get something cool out there. So let me know what you think about that. All right, so I'm going to move on here to something that I wanted to talk about because I did a video. The last product video that I did had gotten 3 new products, and it was the Crank Brothers Crank Brothers Stamp shoes with the Speed Lace stamps. Brothers shoes, Crank Brothers shoes, something like that. Anyways, I absolutely love the shoe, and I got one here, and I'm holding it in the air because they're a really good shoe. I've really enjoyed having this shoe, and the only reason that I'm not going to get another pair is because I really like trying new products and other things. So I think my next shoe is going to be the RC, the Ride Concept shoe, to give those a shot. But these are far from being worn out, but I've worn the heck out of these shoes, and put them through some pretty rigorous riding, and I probably should have sprayed them off or cleaned them off at some point, but they just keep going. Anyways, this is a size 9.5, and the thing that I like the most about this shoe, I'm going to talk about some of the things that I like and try to find something that I don't like. But the biggest thing that I like is that this lace that they have, okay, it's like a drawstring, and underneath the tongue is a little pouch that once you get the shoe snugged where you like it on your foot, you pull the drawstring tension down, tighten it, loop it around, and then you stick it underneath this little pouch that's on the tongue of the shoe. And then on top of that, they have this strap that straps over the top, which basically locks your heel in place, and you're never going to have to worry about where those laces are at, because not only are they tucked away in this pouch, but now you have this Velcro strap that lays over the top that snugs your heel down and keeps those laces in that pouch. That's probably my favorite thing that I like about these particular shoes. The other thing that I really like about them is how light they are, the material that they use to make them, and all the little mesh side holes that they have in there that really makes the air. Because here in South Texas, like, it never really gets that cold, right? So having to double up on socks or put a set of wool socks on is all you're going to need on the 2% of days that it's going to be cold. The rest of the 98% of the days is going to be hot, and you want something that has a lot of air and that wind can come through, and a nice light material to help cool your feet off. And I really like these shoes because of that. That's another one of my favorite things. Another feature that this has that has kind of worn out. I don't want to say prematurely or not, but it's got this little toe protection on it in the front, which has helped. I've definitely got my foot ran into between a rock and my pedal, and in between a root or a stump in my pedal. And yes, it hurt, but I cannot imagine how much worse it would have been, or if there would have been blood or some serious damage had there not been that toe protection. But it's pretty flat and flexible now from what it was. But that was a nice contributor. If I were to redesign the shoe, I'd try to find a way to make that toe protection on the front maybe a little stiffer, or maybe bring that rubber that's stitched in there, maybe bring it up a little bit higher. I don't know. The bottom of the shoe, the rubber that they use, this, I think they call it like match rubber or something like that. So the midsole, where in the middle of the sole where your foot goes, the rubber compound that they use, I like. It's stiff, but you can still feel the trail through your pedals on the shoe, and I like that. I don't want to feel like I'm clipped in and not feel any of the trail. And I don't know if that's a bad thing or not. Maybe it's a good thing if you are wearing flats, and if you're wearing clips where you're clipped in, maybe it doesn't matter so much. but I kind of like the way the feel of the terrain through the pedals. And it's not that it has a bunch of rebound. Like, my feet don't bounce off of these. They stayed glued. The whatever rubber compound that they have here, my feet stays nice and glued to the pedals. Now, just real quick, I do have a set of Crank Brothers pedals that I use with these. I think I have the Stamp 7s or something like that. They're a Danny McAllister like named brand one. They're really nice. They're really nice. Now, those pedals do fit in the grooves of this shoe better than my 1UP branded pedals do. But my 1UP branded pedals work just fine with them. I'm not going to say that one works better than the other. It's just they definitely fit better on the Crank Brothers. Like, whenever you when you settle your foot in on the Crank Brothers one, it's a lot easier to find like where they settle in. And with the so there is a spot where your foot settles in on the Crank Brothers pedals, as where on the 1UP pedals they just set on top like you do with any other shoe. They set on top. They don't bounce. It's a good. It's just like it marries better to the pedal. It's easier to find and where the pedal meshes to the shoe better. Okay. Now, this little top portion here, they did a little different than the midsole, and they did the same thing on the bottom here of the heel. And when walking around in them and trying to try to walk up the trail, those little lugs up front, they help out a ton. Believe it or not, they actually do. Like, they do what they're supposed to do, because I know whenever I ride my 510s with the stealth bottoms and they just have all those little circular things all over the place, like they're not the greatest shoe for like hike a bike and trying to climb back up the mountain or what have you. And I feel that material, whenever it comes to the rubber compound that they use, is stiffer and harder and is probably going to last longer than this, but it deadens the trail and it makes it tough for climbing because of how stiff that rubber sole is that they're using. Doesn't really grip the ground very well. And these are way better for that. Another notable thing about these shoes is in the back here, they haven't rubbed off yet, but in the heel, they have these little, just these little, what do you call them, silicone dots, but they work really well. Like, they hug your heel into your shoe, and I don't feel my foot sliding around at all. Now, I guess the only one thing that I would say about this shoe is the rubber compound. I don't feel like I don't feel the pegs of the little metal pegs that come up off the pedals, like pushing through the shoe or anything like that. But I have noticed that whenever I do get off to hike a bike, that I can feel every rock underneath me. Like, the shoe's really flexy. So if you like that, if you like that kind of a shoe, that's good. But I think that the shoe is the sole is going to prematurely wear out. I don't know if I can really say that or not, because I do a lot of riding. I ride my bike, if not, 3 days a week, if not 4 days a week. I'm usually both days on the weekend, Saturday and Sunday, I'm riding, and also I am riding once or twice, doing a night ride here in South Texas, because I just like to ride my bike that much. I have a really nice set of lights, which I would love to do a video on about that. And I would love to talk to you guys about those lights, because they work really good. And if you're going to ride your bike at night, get some damn decent lights, because I tell you, if you like to go at any kind of speed, like, yeah, any light's going to work. It's going to light up the trail. But if you like to go at any kind of speed and try to ride your bike the same speed you do during the day at night, you better get yourself some good lights, and you better have a handlebar light and a head mounted light, and that'll make your experience for riding in that kind of conditions a lot better. Excuse me, I probably picked the wrong drink to have while I'm doing a podcast, because I'm having a Red Bull sugar free. It's the only ones that I drink. It's the only kind of soda thing that I drink. I might have a Diet Dr. Pepper every now and then, or a sip of my wife's, but I don't really care to drink soda much. But this carbonated drink and trying to spit out these words at the same time had me want to do the whole belch activity. So I'm going to move on to the next product, because whenever I did the last product review video that I did, or product release video, I don't know, what do you call it? It was these shoes, the goggles, and the helmet, right? So I'm going to grab, hang on a second here. All right, so this is my least favorite thing that, unfortunately, that I've ever purchased as far as mountain bike equipment goes. So I got the Trigger helmet. Looks super sick. It's one of the lighter helmets on the market, if not the lightest helmet on the market. It's the ISX or IXS Trigger helmet, and it's very comfortable. I'm going to talk about that, but let's get to my least favorite piece of gear that I've ever purchased, and that is these it says it on here. These are the IXS X, as in X marks the spot, IXS Trigger goggles. Now, initially, I liked everything that you've done. First off, let me tell you the good things before I just get into the bad thing. It's just that one bad thing almost makes these goggles useless to me. Okay, so listen to me. The goggle strap is cool, right? It's got this silicone inlay that says "Get out and play," right? You guys probably can't see that. Plus, it's really dark in here, anyways. But it's really nice. It's a silicone inlay, so it's going to help stick to your helmet. The materials that they use on this mask feel really good, although the construction of the frame, the rubber compound that they used for that is very flexible, and I think that's part of the reason why. Oh man, I did that right. Sorry. That's probably part of the reason why these don't work for me that well. Okay. The lens is 5 millimeters thick, which is good. So if you catch a branch or a rock or something into the lens, chances are it's just going to bounce off. It's not going to poke a hole through, and you're not going to lose an eye. Okay. The other thing that I like is that on the bridge of the top of the goggles and down towards the nose part, it's got these really nice big holes all the way around the goggles, but it's protected by another very light foam, so that it's going to help dissipate the heat out of the goggles so that they don't fog up, and the foam's going to help keep the dust and debris and shit from coming in, so that you don't have to continuously try and put a cloth in there and try to clean off these goggles. I like that it has an outrigger. If you're wearing goggles without an outrigger, you probably don't have a full face on, and if you do, try one with an outrigger, because the outrigger is going to help spread out the goggles a little bit more, so whenever you put the helmet on, it's going to have that much more room and not going to be like sucking up against your face or pulling away from your face, depending on how you're built. So all things that I like. It's got 3-stage foam. Actually, it's got 4-stage foam, so it's got 3 layers of foam, and then it's got this other foam that rests on your face, that is going to help soak up some sweat before all the foam gets really sweaty and nasty, right? So now to the part that I don't like, and why these goggles are basically useless to me. Whenever I have these goggles on my face, they feel fine, and I've tried to loosen them up whenever I have them on my helmet. Because when I have them on my helmet and I have them snug down, there is so much pressure on like my sinus cavity, on either side of my nose and on my nose. I cannot breathe through my nose, and all I can do is mouth breathe to try to get this goggle to work. Now, as far as the goggle goes, it works excellently, but as far as the fit goes, it's absolutely terrible for me. Just a quick little story. I had tried them 2 or 3 times. I ride my bike at Spider Mountain quite a bit, and that's really the only place that I need a set of goggles. I happened to notice, or a guy happened to notice, hey, you got a trigger helmet. I'm like, yeah, you have a trigger helmet and you have the matching goggles. He's like, yeah, I hate these goggles though. I can't breathe in them. I was like, what do you mean? He's like, right here on my sinuses and in my face. So it's not just my face. It's not just the way that I'm built. The first time I run into a guy that has a pair of the same goggles and the same helmet, says the same shit that I said, thinking that, are saying that these goggles suck because you can't breathe in them. Now, unfortunately, this guy, this is the first helmet and the first set of goggles that he bought. You know, he figured that like I did, like the engineers would have engineered these goggles to fit within the helmet really well and work together. They didn't, and I don't know if that's just, like I said, maybe it's the construction of the rubber that they used. I don't know, but I went back to my Armigans, my 1-Up brand goggles, and I don't have that problem with. So that's what I wear. I really wish that these goggles would have worked because I like the style of them. I like the way that they look, but they don't do it for me. So what I decided to try to do to help with that is I went in and I took out a layer of foam to try to get right in that area, right on the nose bridge part. I try to take out a bunch of the foam there so that whenever I put them on, there's just not that pressure pushing down from that extra foam that's there. And it still didn't work. It sucks. And it's not because the goggle is like too far up on the helmet and it's pushing down on the goggles, that it's pushing down on my sinuses, because there's plenty, there's a good 5 millimeters of room between the top of the goggles and the bottom of the helmet where it fits into the face mask area. It's not that, because that's what I thought it was, that too. So I was trying to wear them a little bit lower, but it's not that. It's not that at all. I don't know what it is. It's just these goggles do not fit to my face. Let me know if you guys have a set of these triggers and they work fine. I'm not trying to badmouth them because I think they made a good product. I just think it's either the way that I'm built or the way that these this rubber is. I don't know. You guys let me know. Other than that, I really like the goggles. I just can't use them. All right. With that being said, let's move on. I'm gonna talk about this trigger helmet. Now this trigger helmet is badass. I got a steal of a deal on it because what had happened is I found it on eBay. I do a lot of surfing through eBay because a lot of the bike companies will go ahead and put their open box products up, and then, they'll sell them at a discount. And I was thinking that this was that same deal. Anyways, this helmet of mine is actually the trigger let me get it right. IXS. It's the Trigger IXS helmet. And it is black with the camo, the black and gray camo. I thought I was getting the white one with the gray and silver camo, and I still would have preferred that one, but I got this one at the same. I got this one, so I think this thing books for like $299, and I ended up picking this thing up for $200. So basically $100 off. The helmet's brand new, never been used before, and no, it was cheaper than that. It was cheaper than that. It was $129 is what it was, because it was an open bid. That's what I bid for it. And there was somebody else that bid $169 and initially won the auction. But then the very next day, the company that was selling it to me reached out and said, hey, so the guy said that he couldn't pay for it or something like that. So that fell through. So they're like, hey, we'll take your $129. So that was awesome. Super sick deal, right? And sent me the goggles, free shipping. So I got helmet. So I got this helmet for steal of a deal, right? So I just want to talk about some of the things that first of all, I can't think of anything that I don't like about the helmet, other than I'm going to tell you this first. Right here on the chin bar, on the top side, the first layer of protection that not on the foam, but the plastic like sheeting or cover that goes over it that sticks to it is like peeling up. You can't really see it from the outside, but I can feel it every time I grab the chin bar, which is whatever, not a big deal. As far as being light and having like the really good air that comes through this helmet. Like I also have a Troy Lee Stage helmet. I've been through a couple of full face helmets, and I still have my Troy Lee Stage helmet. There's nothing wrong with my Troy Lee Stage helmet. It fits fine. This ISXS fits better. I ain't gonna lie about that, because whenever I slide it on and I put it on the top, the cranium part, I think is what fits the best better than my Troy Lee helmet. Is like, it feels like my head slides into the helmet more. Not to mention, on the back of this, it's got like that fidlock kind of design where dial, you're right, like the boa style dial. So you dial it in and it snugs up against your helmet. And not only does it tighten up that way, but you can also adjust how high or how low that dial is on your head. So where my head comes down, it comes down quite a bit higher than I think most people. And it's got 3 different levels that you can put that dial. And mine is all the way up, and that's where it fits snug and best against my helmet. Doesn't move at all, and feels very, very comfortable. The other thing that I like about that is like going up and down the mountain, whether you're pedaling or just having the helmet on while you're running the ski lift, you can dial that dial back off, and just kind of loosens it up and makes things a little bit more airy. Gets a little bit more airflow through there when you're riding up. Cheek pads fit really well. They have a couple of they send you with 2 different sizes of cheek pads, and that works really well. That works fine. I use the smaller ones because I have a chubby cheeked face. I love that it's got a fidlock on it. I love that it's got this other little piece of material. It's just a little Velcro strap, kind of soft, pillowy material that wraps around the chin strap to help keep the excess strap out of the way. I really like that it's got a 2-position visors, because there's a ton of room to put your goggles up there. And if you're not running your goggles up there, you can tilt that thing all the way up, and you can slide your GoPro underneath it. I got a GoPro mount, and the footage that I get from there, I think, looks sick. Like, it's not like sticking up on top of your mount, on top of your head, which is just real. I do have one on top. I've never actually ran my GoPro on top of my helmet because I think you look stupid. That unicorn, you got the, unless you're a free rider or you're riding Red Bull Rampage or Red Bull Hardline and you're a professional mountain biker, I don't think it's worth having that so exposed. Like, I feel like having it underneath my visor, my visor's going to rip off, the GoPro's going to be fine. But I think if you have it mounted on top, like, you're just asking for your GoPro to get smashed. Even on my chin bar, I feel like having the chin bar is definitely an added level of security, but I feel like I'm athletic enough and I'm aware enough that if I'm going down and I'm about to eat shit, like, I'm going to turn my head and my chin bar is not going to like come back into my grill, so if I were to have my GoPro running on my chin bar, which I have had it running on my chin bar, I don't think that you're in that much risk of having it damaged like you are having it on top of your dome. Anyways, so yeah, the visor thing, really, really cool. Having that enough room to either stick your goggles underneath or going to put your GoPro underneath. Very cool. Fits really good. It's got a lot of air vents, and on the back, it's got another added little piece of rubber back here that are going to hug your goggles in place, your goggle strap in place, so it's not going to be moving all around and about. And if I had to do it all over again, and I was sticking with a brand, I would love to purchase another ISX helmet. But because I like to do what I like to do, I will be picking up a different helmet when the time comes so that I can review it, so I can see how it is. I would love nothing more than to have sponsors. I was a sponsored athlete through paintball for a long time, and I love working with companies like that, because they're going to come in and they're going to ask your opinion, because you wear their product, you do their products, or I'm sorry, you wear their products, you use their products a lot, and they're going to make tweaks and revisions based on what you say or what the masses say. So I would love to work with a mountain bike company on something like that. As a matter of fact, I would love to help a mountain bike company make protection gear, elbow pads, knee pads, helmets, chest protectors, hip protectors, like things like that. Like, I would love to work with the company, because I got some really good ideas about that, and that I'm going to keep to myself, that I've learned through the paintball industry, that I think the mountain bike industry is losing out on. Hit me up if you guys are interested in helping me make some new pads. Now, with that being said, those are the 3 products that I really wanted to visit about, because I need to do a review video, or a long-term review video, and let you guys know what I really think about this. But what I ended up doing, with this first iteration of my podcast, is I made I made a list of things that. So I asked on Facebook and on my Instagram for some ideas and topics and things like that, and a lot of people obviously know me because they're my friends, but some of them have some crazy ideas, because some of them are just friends that I've had from paintball for many years, and others are just friends that don't know exactly what I do, but they hear I'm doing a podcast, and they're just gonna shoot their shot, right? So I'm gonna go down the line to see how many of these that I can get through before I run out of time, because I can't remember. Let me check and see how long I've been rambling on. How long Rooty has been rambling already. So we're at 51 minutes and 43 seconds. I was thinking this was going to be around about an hour, and we're coming up on it pretty quick. So I'm going to run through some of these and see how close I get. If I feel like it, I'm just going to keep going, because I'm having fun. I don't know if you guys are having a lot of fun listening to me. I hope you are. I hope this gives somebody else some inspiration on, doing their own podcast or mountain biking or something like that. I hope some of y'all are out there getting some entertainment value out of this. I hope you guys are kind of getting to know me a little bit. And let's move on here. So first things first, my buddy Adam was the first one to post up something, and he said bikes, beer, and guns. So of course I love nothing more than talk about bikes and bikes in general. Like, I don't have to be specific on the bike, right? I don't know shit about road bikes, and I don't know shit about gravel bikes. I mean, maybe a little bit. But mountain bikes and dirt jumpers and different types of mountain bikes, enduro, trail, XC, downcountry, if that's still a thing. And I love nothing more than talk about bikes. And got to be more specific, or else I can just go on a tangent about that. Beer, oh man, who doesn't love beer? I love beer, but I can't drink it as much. I can't drink it as excess as like I used to. So I found a couple of these IPAs that I can drink like 3 or 4 of. And if you know me and you talked about beer with me before, I've told you, because I like drinking these high volume beers, because at 4, I can tell, hey, either it's time to go home, I've had a good time, it's been great visiting with you guys, or else I'm going to hit 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10, and we are fucking partying, okay? Because that's just the kind of guy I am, and it's taken a long time for me to realize that, because drinking the old Busch Light, Bud Light, Coors Light, all the light beers, man, I can drink a 12-pack and before you know it, I'm 24 beers deep, and now we're partying, and it's taken all night to get to that point. But now having these higher volume beers, I can kind of feel where like the cutoff is, and that's a good thing. But even that, man, I can have 6 of those beers, 7, 8 of those beers, and the next day, like, I just don't recover like I used to. I just don't. And I'm pretty good about drinking my water, and I still don't feel great. So, I really enjoy the beer. But Having one or two is definitely more so of what I do nowadays than what I used to do. Guns. I own a couple of guns. I'm not a big gun fanatic, and I think that everybody should. I think everybody should be able to own a gun. And that's about it with me and guns. They're useful. If you're a hunter, you need to have them. They're fun to shoot, like to target shoot, like especially different guns. Like I can see if guns would have been a thing for me, I would be the exact same way as I am with bikes, right? Like I want to have a bike for every category, and I want to have all the things for those bikes and all the categories, right? And with guns, I could definitely see me having a couple of rifles, a couple of semi-automatic rifles, a couple of long-range rifles, a bunch of different kinds of pistols, and then if I got into any kind of competing in gun shooting competitions or anything like that, good Lord, who knows how many guns I would be. But lucky or not, I haven't gotten into that. But if you are, like, hats off to you, and I'm glad to have you as a friend, because I definitely have some friends that have a lot of guns, and I've had the opportunity to shoot a lot of different guns. So I like them, I love them. I just don't have enough knowledge to really talk about them much. So thanks, Adam. Dad jokes, Stacy Joe. So here's the thing about dad jokes, right? Like I feel like yeah, you can obviously write out a dad joke, but I think the best dad jokes come from within, right? Within the conversation. Like somebody's talking something about something or saying something about something, and then you spit out like a one-liner. And I think that those are the best dad jokes, because sometimes they hit good. They hit like perfect, like everybody gets it. And then sometimes it's such a dad joke that people's like thinking about it, like that wasn't a good dad joke, because like everybody's scratching their head because they don't get it. Or you get in the situation where you're within you're within a conversation with a lot of people, and you spit out a dad joke about it, and everybody just keeps talking like you didn't say anything because it was really, really bad joke. So dad jokes are here to miss. And yeah, I think my wife commented something on there like I only get one. So I don't have one. If I have one throughout interviewing somebody, I'm sure I will spit out a dad joke or two, but I'm only allowed one. Doug wrote what I want for Christmas. I'm an adult, and throughout the year I pretty much get whatever I want, within reason, of course. What would I want for Christmas that's tangible, that I could get here soon, and that I want? I would like a new dirt jumper, and I would like at least a new dirt jumper frame, because I think I have everything I need, except the dirt jumper that I have currently is a size large, and I didn't think it was going to be that big of a deal until I rode somebody's size medium, and I should have definitely got the medium. So I know that there's a medium frame, Evil Reactor 2 at Trailhead Mountain Bike. So if anybody would like to get me something for Christmas, I would love nothing more than to have a new dirt jumper frame that is the Evil Reactor 2. If you guys are out there listening and want to buy me something cool for Christmas, that would be awesome. Tacos. We're going to talk about tacos for just a minute. My friend Amos, a very good and long friend of mine, just wrote tacos. And you would figure that being here in San Antonio for a little over a year now, that I would be like a connoisseur of tacos, and you'd be right. I absolutely love tacos. The one I think that's what's helped put on all this extra weight. There's a lot of things that I could blame for having this extra weight on. I've been here for about a year, and I've put on 30 pounds in a year. I was sitting right at 200 or just under 200 whenever I first got here. I am 231 pounds or something like that. It's the heaviest I've been since like 2014 or 15 or something like that. So, which I do have plans to get back I do have plans to start getting back into shape, getting my diet right, getting my exercise right. Because if you don't know, the hard truth is you lose inches in the gym and you lose weight in the kitchen. And you put those both together, and it just starts coming off, man. And you start looking better, and you start feeling better. And I'm so looking forward to that. And as a matter of fact, I think I'm going to start. I think I'm gonna start that tomorrow because I've just let myself go on that. But tacos, let's talk tacos, man. There's this place down the street called Selly's, and whenever we first moved to San Antonio, I have 3 cousins that live in this area. And my one cousin's husband is also a connoisseur of the tacos and Mexican food in general. And he said, there's all these little Mexican restaurants and these taco trucks all up and down the street. They're like, don't waste your time. Just there's one place, and it's called Selly's. And he's like, just go there. And he's right. He's absolutely right. We have given a couple of the other places a try, and they're okay, but Selly's is definitely the best. And whenever it comes to tacos in general, they make this taco with the meat that they put in the taco is called carne guisada. Carne guisada is basically like roast beef, really soft. Is it roast beef, or is it carne guisada? No, it's pork. No, it's beef. It's beef, but it's like stew beef, and it is really, really good in a taco. They also make this taco, this breakfast taco called chilicles. I don't know. I say it one way, and then whenever I order it, they say it a different way. And then I go to a different restaurant and order a chilicles, and they say it a different way. So basically, it's egg, it's egg and nacho chips, cheese, and they put like vegetables like the like peppers in it, like bell pepper, green pepper, jalapeno pepper, and then they roll it up in a taco, and that's a really good taco. Moving on here, because Amos, if you really want to talk tacos, or you want to come down here and see me in San Antonio, I'll take you to some really good taco places. This next one, my buddy Carter, and any of my other friends that know my friend Carter knows that this is so much a Carter thing to say. The hard problem of consciousness. Man, that's a rabbit hole, bro. And I feel like in order to really touch onto that topic, like I need to have you here or some other intellectual mind to break open that can of worms, because dude, you can talk about that forever. And golly, that is just such a Carter thing to say. Thanks Carter for being Carter. I miss you, bro. I'm just gonna move on here to the next one. It's pre-ride, post-ride meals from my friend Crankit MTB. And that's probably one thing that I don't actually know a lot about. Like I can probably come up with a really good pre-ride meal and post-ride meal, because if you're an athlete in any sense of the form, a competitive athlete in any sense of the form, then you kind of know what to eat before what kind of exercise you're going to be doing. And a lot of times, whenever it comes to like doing high cardio volume, you want a lot of carbs. You want a lot of good carbs, because you're going to burn those up really fast. And your post-ride meal, I feel like, should be full of proteins, like lots of proteins and fats, to help replenish your body from burning all those calories, and then help try to rebuild some muscle on the back end. That would be my quick advice to pre-ride, post-ride meal. If you'd like, bro, we can get together sometime and try to come up with a little meal plan for pre-ride, post-ride. That'd be pretty cool. That'd be tough to stick to, man, as an athlete. But it's something that I really should try to figure out, because whenever I go out for a ride, it's a 2.5-3 hour ride, and I should say it's an hour and a half to a 2 hour ride, and I mean, you've been with me, Paul. You know what? We push pretty hard. Whenever we're riding, it's not usually a lot of sitting around bullshitting like like you are with a group of 25. If it's 3 to 5 people and you're ripping and roaring pretty much the whole time, and you don't take a whole lot of breaks. Um, so my friend Mike, he posted this. He's one of my paintball buddies from way, way back. Man, I haven't even seen Mike in probably 10, 15 years, man. It's been a long time. He said have him on as a guest, bro. Dude, if we can figure it out, man, you wanna catch up on a podcast? Shit, why not, man? I see I see the stuff you're doing, man. You want to bring that drone over here and try to follow me on a bike and take some cool pictures or some cool videos, man? I'm down. Let's do it. Let's sit down and talk. My friend Ian, bike builds. Oh man, I love watching bike builds. Um, Cardi, or what's his name? Not Cardi, not Tom Cardi. The other YouTuber that I watch, Matt Jones, he just did a bike build on his new dirt jumper, dude. And yeah, I love watching stuff like that. First of all, I like watching his videos. Anyways, if you guys don't know who Matt Jones is, check him out on YouTube. He does some amazing stuff. He's a great rider. He's a Marin sponsored athlete. He rides Marin bikes, and yeah, dude rips. Um, but yeah, I love watching bike builds. I'd love to maybe break a bike build down that I would like something I would have done rather than this and than that, because everybody's kind of, excuse me. Oh man, that Red Bull. Everybody's kind of got their own preferences, personal preferences whenever it comes to bike parts. And I think that's why I like doing what I do, man. As far as like trying out all new products, because if I were to stick with one set of brakes, for example, it would probably be the Code RSCs. Like, I put those on any bike and be more than comfortable with on any time. And I think people feel that way about the Shimano XTRs. Like they and it's just a personal preference thing, but it's the high end, and it's that you can't get anything better. And but I tell you what, I put a set of Magura brakes on my Norco, and I put a 223 up front and a 203 in the rear, and that's all the stopping power you need, man. And the modulation's there, but the bite's there whenever you really pull hard on them. I mean, I really feel like the Magura brakes, the MT5s that I have, or a really good like mix between the two of Shimano and SRAM. I feel like it's got the modulation of the SRAM, but it's got the bite of the Shimano's, but the bite is on the back end rather than the front end of like Shimano. So you just kind of got to grab them quick and kind of deep to get that bite. Anyways, yeah, so bike builds would be cool. My brother Dennis posted midget wrestling, and I don't know if you guys have ever been to a midget wrestling venue, but it's fun. It's a good time, and I've been to them, and yeah, it's fun. And if you ever get the opportunity to be one of the guys to toss them down the bowling alley, the slippery bowling alley, hop on it, because it's fun. I don't know much about midget wrestling, but I've been to a midget wrestling event, and if you haven't gone, you have to go at least once in your life. Go check it out. Oh man, so the last one that I seen today was from my buddy Aaron, another longtime paintball buddy. Did some events together, met a really cool guy. He said, personal growth, killing it at my age. Or he said, killing the game at my age, and my experiences. And yeah, for those of you guys who don't know, I played paintball at a pretty high level for a long time. And, I'm 44 years old now, so I've definitely had some experiences in my life, and I could go on about those. And so Aaron, you're going to have to be a little bit more detailed about what experiences you want to visit about or you want me to talk about? Personal growth. You know, that's the never ending question, or the never ending phrase. You know, if you want to grow as a person, or, you know, grow your business, or grow your YouTube channel, or, you know, do something different and try to grow from there, you know, I can tell you this, that you're never going to get anywhere until you start doing it, you know. And that's what this podcast is really kind of about for me personally, because, you know, as much as I like doing the YouTube thing, it just really hasn't taken off. And, you know, it might have a little bit to do with my video editing skills. I definitely feel like I have the creativity, but I don't have the skill to do some of the things that I would really like to do whenever it comes to video editing. I wish I was in the position where I could pay somebody to sit next to visit with, and help create some cooler content, or some cooler viewing expeditions with my abilities, or be able to bring the things that I think of, the creative things that I think of, to help me bring them to life. Like, that would be really cool, really cool to do. But yeah, you know, personal growth is that's just what it is, man. It's like trying to, start something and progress it, and just to continue to progress it as far as you can. And this is just the start right here. This is the first edition, the first stage of, you know, trying to get a popular podcast, or try to get your name or your brand out there. And, you know, that's exactly what I'm doing. Aaron is, trying to grow as a person, and killing it at my age. I appreciate it. I feel like that's a compliment. And I know it is, because, I was the oldest person on the paintball field with probably one of the youngest teams. And man, we were just murdering it, for a long time, for a long time. But you know, at my age also, I couldn't do some of the things that I used to do on the field. But I also got the experience, because of being in that position to, you know, stay cool, calm, and collective, and try to direct the guys in a manner that seemed fit to win games. And we definitely did a lot of winning on those, you know, what was it, 16, 17, 18, those 3 years that I was with that team, man. We murdered a lot of people. That was won a lot of games. That was a good time. Probably one of the best times in my life was those 3 years with that team. Moving on here. Oh shit, that's it. I mean, again, I could spend a lot more time on each one of these. I could spend a lot of time on each one of these topics, but I'm going to go ahead and I guess end it for today. If you guys stuck around for this long, I really do appreciate it. I don't know if I'm going to have a separate channel yet for this. I asked a lot of questions, so I expect to see some comments down below. I need some more topics, so if you want to put those in the comments down below, that would be pretty cool. You know, just trying to do this thing. You know, I quit my job yesterday, and it feels great, because, you know, I'm just kind of, I'm tired of working. I don't want to work for anybody else but myself, and I want to try to find an avenue that, you know, using mountain biking or YouTube or podcast, or, you know, trying to find a different avenue of income to support myself, rather than the traditional way, because I'm tired of doing that. I don't want to do it anymore. And I really hope that this works out, because if it don't, it's fine. You know what? It's fine. Even if it doesn't work out, it's fine. I'll figure it out. But if you would like to support somebody that's like, fuck it, let's do it a different way, the best thing you can do is hit the subscription button, hit the bell notification, give me a thumbs up, leave comments down below. And I think here shortly, I'm going to have a what do you call it, a Patreon. That way, if you guys really want to show your support in the form of dollar bills, y'all, dollar bills, you can do that too. But for now, hit me up on this YouTube thing, man. Let me know what you guys think about this this podcast, and I'll see you next time. Peace out. Go ride your bike.